fucking ashamed of yourself. You're fucking scum. You're fucking pigs! Patriarchy. Fucking rape apologist, incest supporting, woman hating, fucking scum.
You woman hater!
Patriarchy, fuckface!
You and your son and your everybody and your friends are fucking men!
Fucking scum!
This is what men's rights look like! This is what men's rights look like! This is what men's rights look like!
Feminist theory is not the Bible. It is not the Declaration of Independence. It is not the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
You're damn right we target feminist ideology. Feminist ideology teaches nothing but hate and contempt for men and boys.
Feminism must be like the psychedelic drug. I swear to God, because nothing they say is remotely close to reality.
We're going to continue to call feminists out on their hate and bigotry, and we really don't give a damn if they like it or not.
Well, you know what, feminism, if you don't like the rule of law, then don't be part of society. Go somewhere else.
Blue Collar Red Pill, with your host, the One Dan Army Dan Aarons, and Jack Nightrunner Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Blue Collar Red Pill Radio. Dan, are you there?
I am, Jack. How you making out this week, brother?
Doing pretty well, actually. Doing pretty well. Yourself?
I'm still on this side of the grass, fair to Midland, and halfway to Odessa.
All right, we've got a lot to cover tonight, so let's get into it. First off, you'll probably notice the title to this show, White Knights, Male Feminists, and Manginas. Well, let me explain that title just a little. A white knight is the same thing as a traditional conservative woman who believes, not all traditional conservatives, but a traditional conservative woman who believes that men should sacrifice themselves for women. Of course, not all traditional conservatives believe that. That's what a white knight is. A white knight is just a male version of that female traditional conservative. A male feminist is just the opposite of a female, is the same as a female feminist. You know, they believe that there's something wrong with men and boys, and what's wrong with them is masculinity. And so men and boys need to be socialized to be less masculine, more feminine, because feminine is good, masculine is bad. All right, then you've got manginas. Now, I know there's some people that don't like that word. Well, it's a very appropriate word for this particular set of men. A mangina is the same thing as what, quote unquote, a radical feminist. Just like their other feminist counterparts, they believe that there's something wrong with men and boys, and that problem is called masculinity. However, they believe that masculinity cannot be removed from men and boys, so best case scenario, women should rule the world and rule over men. Men should be subordinate to women. Worst case scenario, we just kill them all. Kill all men and boys and all female planet. That's what a mangina is. A mangina is a man who believes that. And yes, they do exist.
You know what? Can we just call them futrells? Why don't we just call them futrells? You know, they're all a bunch of Darwin's rejects. You know, we'll just call them futrells.
Yeah. I like the term mangina because they are men who hate themselves. They hate who they are. They hate how they were born. They wish they had a vagina because penis is bad, vagina is good. You know, people who have a penis are bad people. People who have a vagina are good people. And so they hate themselves. They're men who hate the fact they were born with a penis. They wish they had a vagina, and so mangina. Now, this is totally different from a transsexual, a person who was born male but wants to be female because of their gender identity. No, this is totally different from that. Manginas hate the fact that they were born male because of the ideology of feminism, not because of any internal conflict with their gender identity.
Beware the evil penis.
But anyway, I've taken up enough time here. Danny, I believe you have something for us.
All right, first off the top there, we got a little bit of a request coming out from Terrence Popp there, folks. If you haven't spread around his salute to Robin Williams, get on it, make it viral. I'm leaving the link in the low bar there. I'm putting the link in the chat room for you there. He's trying to make it viral. We owe it to Robin to make it viral. All right? So there. And Terrence, salute you there, sir. Hats off to you. Now, my section here, I'm going to be dealing with the writer Sophie Teague, I believe is her name. And I'm taking on her little piece over at Yahoo there. I believe it's called it's got a hashtag ICYMI, which I guess is in case you missed it. In case you missed it there, Sophie, here's a quick little heads up. If you believe in equality, you don't have to be a feminist. Matter of fact, 80% of the population or better are not feminists and still believe in equality. So stop trying to impute your beliefs on us. You don't see, more and more I'm seeing myself now, I'm seeing things nowadays as more along the lines of feminism is like a penis. It's fine to have one, just don't be sticking it down people's throats without their permission.
Oh, wow. I like that. I like that.
So anyways, all right. So that's a quick little intro. I put the link in the low bar there, or in the...
You keep calling it the low bar, man. We're not on YouTube.
Well, we're talking about feminists, so they put the bar pretty low.
Oh, true. Very true.
So yeah, I'm actually kind of liking that analogy about feminism. It's almost like having a penis. It's fine and dandy to have it, but just stop sticking it down people's throats without their permission. Which isn't that kind of rapey culture-y, feminist rapey culture-y? I don't know. Think about that one there for a little bit. It's not
rape when a woman does it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. How silly of me. Okay, so. Sophie there, she leads off with quick poll for men of the world. Do you consider yourself a feminist? If the term seems like a contentious one, we can break it down to a very simple test. Do you think women and men should be treated socially, financially, and politically equal? If the answer is yes, congratulations. You're about to be mind raped to be called a feminist. I mean, whoops. If the answer is yes, congratulations. According to Sophie, you're a feminist. I don't know here, because I thought feminism was all about choice, and geez, I believe in equality between men and women, and I believe in the equal rights, and unlike feminism, I believe that with those rights, we have responsibilities, but they just kind of seem to drop off on the responsibility part there, responsibility for your actions, and responsibility for your own words and actions, and beliefs, but, hey, according to Sophie, that's a good thing, ignoring your responsibilities with those rights. So, she's got a nice picture of this guy who is, this is what a feminist looks like. Well, he kind of looks like, I don't know, geez, he might look like somebody who really, I think that he's got something smoking in his pipe. There's a picture of a gentleman there with a pipe in his mouth, and I think there's something, some hallucinogenic, plant matter in that pipe, and he's smoking it. Anyways, throughout many waves of and incarnations, feminism has picked up some of the worst PR since Susan Boyle's album launch. Hashtag Susan, Susan Anal Bump Party. Hashtag never forget. So yeah, that's I don't think it's supposed to be Sus Anal Bump Party. I think it's supposed to be Susan album party, but it kind of says Sus Anal Bump Party. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a mistake on her part, I guess. But she goes on to say, we're now at a stage where high-profile women like Kelly Clarkson, Shailene Woodley, and Katy Perry cower at the mention of the word and refuse to align themselves with it. Heads up there, Sophie. They don't cower. It takes an incredible amount of courage and fortitude and ethics to call yourself a non-feminist, or not, a non-feminist. The amount of pushback and blowback that these people get for making their own personal choice is incredible. Perhaps they don't want to identify as a feminist because of actions like Beyonce, who sat there while her husband was domestically abused by Solange in an elevator not so long ago. We still haven't heard that Solange has gone to jail. I thought there was supposed to be a zero-tolerance policy on domestic violence, but apparently that only counts if you have a penis. Beware the penis. Yes. So, anyways. Enter male feminists, she goes on to say. Now, for some of the less enlightened members of the population, the term male feminist might seem like an oxymoron. Well, no, it's just more like morons. As a matter of fact, male feminists and female feminists, for the most part, just a bunch of morons. Like I said, they're pretty much Darwin's rejects. Evolution of thought and action has just, kind of stagnated. They're somewhere right around pond scum. They haven't been able to, rise above pond scum yet in their beliefs and promotion of their policies. What do you think there, Jack? Uh-oh. Did we lose Jack?
Yeah, sorry. The whole deal about equality, if you believe in equality, then you're a feminist. Well, I believe in equality. But like you, Dan, I also believe in responsibility. That's what precludes me from being a feminist. But, the people who want to call me a feminist because I believe in equality, I've got this to say to you. You can take that back and call me a son of a bitch. I would prefer that, actually. Go ahead, Dan.
Wait a minute. I'm a son of a bitch too. Actually, I'm a lot of other things. According to feminists. But hey, it's all about choice feminism, isn't it? I thought it was. I guess they didn't catch that internal memo about feminism being all about choice. Heads up there, feminists. You did a wonderful job at exposing your own hypocrisy on the Women Against Feminism hashtag. Anyway.
Yeah, it's unless you disagree with feminism, you're not allowed to do that. That's the only choice you don't have.
Yeah, feminism kind of reminds me of a quote by Henry Ford. He said that you can have a Model T in any color you want so long as it's black. That's pretty much feminism in a nutshell. And actually, it reminds me of another Henry Ford invention, the assembly line. Drill it into their heads, ship them off the production line, and tell them that they can only be black, and that's it. No other colors. That's it. They're not allowed to be anything else. So that kind of reminds me of another, little Henry Ford's production line. Kind of reminds me of feminism as well. Indoctrinate them young, get them in the school system, ship them off to college, university, browbeat them over the head, tell them, rinse, repeat, again and again and again, say the evil penis, masculinity is bad. But, hey, that's not indoctrination at all, is it now? Anyways, okay. For some of the less enlightened members of the population, the term male feminist might seem like an oxymoron. We're looking at you, Farrell. That men cannot be feminists. Well, men with low IQs can be feminists. Females with low IQs can be feminists. People who had the umbilical cord wrapped around their neck during the birthing process tend to be feminists, I'd say. Lack of oxygen during the birthing process tends to cause some developmental issues later on in life, as I understand it. Anyways. Following the release of the inevitably shady Blurred Lines last year, the 40-year-old music mogul was regularly asked if he was feminist. Well, calling the song Blurred Lines shady, is kind of an idiot move on her part there, Sophie. It's been pointed out time and time again that it has nothing to do with rape culture or anything like that. But, feminism keeps on spreading that lie around, just like they, try and spread lies around about, say, Elliot Rodger being a member of the men's human rights movement, or MMA fighter there, Warhorse or something like that. I don't even know who the heck the guy is, but apparently they're trying to say that he's a feminist too now. Jesus Christ! Next we're going to hear that King Kong, or not? Not that the MMA fighter was a feminist. Sorry, that he was a men's human rights activist. Next, we're going to hear that King Kong was a men's human rights activist too. I'm pretty sure that's not far down the pipeline of the feminist sewage pipe idea pipeline there. Anyways, I've been to go on with this. I've been asked, am I a feminist? I don't think it's possible for me to be that. I'm a man. Well, again, I'd like to say that, no, it's just because you're intelligent that you're not a feminist there, Farrell. You might want to think about that, but I'm sure Sophie doesn't like that because, hey, if you step outside of the party line, we're going to send not the KGB, it'd be the FGB, the feminist secret service, secret police out to get you and, ruin you or attempt to ruin you. They do tend to do that quite often, and
Danny.
Yeah,
it's called the FF. Kind of like Hitler's SS. It's called the FF.
Ah, the FF. Okay, yeah, that works pretty good. Yeah. I see we got some pretty good comments in the section there. Dracula was a pickup artist. That's a pretty funny one. I'm kind of liking that one. Anyways, back to the column here. Thankfully, for every narrow-minded ignoramus like Farrell there is a forward-thinking, astute Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Sorry there. I think I'm going to need some glasses here. I spent too many hours reading feminist ideology, and it's kind of made me go a little cross-eyed. Nice how that Sophie there, her best response to Farrell is just an ad hominem calling him an ignoramus. Geez there, Sophie, that makes your argument so strong. It buttresses it up just perfectly. Matter of fact, that's about the only thing that feminists are able to do is throw out, insults. That's their argument. That's the substance of their argument. Nothing more. Now, she goes on to say the Inception star was totally baffed to hear that certain young people were shying away from the label. What feminism means to me is that you don't let your gender define who you are. You can be who you want to be, whether you're a man, a woman, a boy, a girl, whatever. Well, geez, that sounds like something the MHRM is about there, Joseph. Geez, I think Joseph's an MHRM or MHRA. I think he's a men's human rights activist. We don't care what you are. We don't care if you stand to pee. We don't care if you squat to pee. We don't care if you squat or if you cock your leg to pee. If you treat us with respect and you show equal compassion, consideration, and care toward all humans, then guess what? That makes you a men's human rights advocate or activist and a non-feminist. Because, you know what? Feminism, those vaginauts only care if you squat to pee. And I believe that we've seen that happening over in Sweden where they want to outlaw urinals. Because guess what? The XY of the human race can stand to pee if they so choose to. But the FF wants to make sure that, they don't exercise that choice. Again, but feminism's all about choice, isn't it? Oh, God bless those vaginauts. So, as Gordon says, so yes, I'd absolutely call myself a feminist. Well, geez, Joseph, I think you better go back to school there, buddy, and start, learning a few things here. Once upon a time, about 6-7 years ago, I would have called myself a feminist until feminist policy decided to dry fuck me up the ass in the courts and in the legal system. I won't say justice system, but in the legal system. So anyways, yeah, let me get back to that. There's a long history of women suffering abuse, injustice, and not having the same opportunities as men. And I think that's been very detrimental to the human race as a whole. Well, Joseph, geez, I see you've been studying feminist herstory, which is hysterical, and quite it's quite fictitious. It's quite interesting. Now let's just take a look at a long history of who is suffering abuse. Now, would being handed a white feather at the age of 15 and being forced to go die in a trench and become cannon fodder, would that be kind of like suffering and abuse? I'm not quite sure on that. Now, would
that's male privilege, Danny. That's male privilege.
Oh yes, of course. How silly of me, Jack. What about your historical views on male abuse? I mean privilege.
Well, men had the privilege of going down with the ship, while they oppressed and subjugated their wives and daughters into getting into the lifeboats. Men stood out in front of the cabin with a single shot muzzle loader. Only one shot with a bayonet on the end to protect the cabin from wild animals or other human beings. That was their privilege, while they oppressed the women and the small children and kept them inside the cabin where it was safe. And then they went to work in hazardous conditions. That was their privilege, going to work in mines or in steel mills. And while the women stayed home and worked and oppressed, these women were. But yeah.
Well, let's be truthful here. At the time that most of these hardships were these alleged hardships that are claimed by feminists were out there, there was an equal and more life-threatening hardships that men had to face at the time. You pointed out a couple, having to go down with the ship, having to defend, the homestead from, possibly a bear back in, the frontier days, hostile enemies. How about, going down in the coal mine, getting black lung, becoming part of your hard hat, if you were given a hard hat, as the mine caved on you. By the way, they give you those hard hats because that's your coffin when that's all that's left after 200,000 tons of rock come crashing down on you. They just kind of scoop you up.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a male privilege there.
Well, Danny, let's put this into perspective. Okay, there's some discrepancy here on when exactly the hard hat was invented, but a lot of scholars say that the hard hat was invented by the workers at the Hoover Dam, who built the Hoover Dam. Now, the Hoover Dam is a hydroelectric dam. That means that the Hoover Dam was built to bring electricity so that women could run their appliances and, light homes and things like that, right? That means that those appliances were there. Only thing was needed was electricity. So we'd already invented these appliances. Some of them, not all of them. Microwave came much later and stuff like that, but some of your basic home appliances had already been invented. But we hadn't invented hard hats for the men building the dam. They had to do that themselves. That puts it in perspective.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. James, you got any historical male privilege you'd like to toss in there, sir?
No, I think you guys are doing just fine covering it. Keep on keeping on.
All right, okay. So, injustice. Let's talk about injustice there. I'm going to touch upon a terrible bit of history there, but how about the lynching of black men for even looking at a woman the wrong way, a white woman the wrong way? Is that male privilege or was that injustice? I'm a little confused on that one. Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Open court, that's opened up there.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody wants to see that is horrible because it happened to black people, and yeah, race was a big part of that. White men wouldn't be lynched for whistling at a white woman or black woman for that matter, but black women weren't lynched for flirting with a white man either. So the fact that the maleness of the victims also played a big part in that.
What about the men's privilege of going to jail when their wife racked up debts that they couldn't afford? Is that a privilege or is that an injustice? I'm not quite sure on that one. Anybody else?
But it's part of coverture. And, of course, coverture was male privilege and female oppression. They leave that other stuff out conveniently. That's feminist education for you.
And what about being pilloried? I don't remember hearing about, domestic violence or domestically abusive wives being pilloried back in the day, but I do know that there's quite a few historical references of abusive males, allegedly abusive males, being pilloried back in the day and whipped. Geez.
No, Dan, that's the thing about it. If a woman was abusive to her husband, they punished her husband. Remember riding the donkey backwards and throwing rotten fruit at him and stuff, rotten food, vegetables and fruit at him. They punished him for allowing his wife to abuse him.
Oh, wait a minute there, Jack. Throwing those vegetables at that man on that donkey backwards, that was his privilege. They were offering food to him.
Yeah.
Okay. They weren't trying to punish him here. That was male privilege. That was, offering of food to him.
That and he didn't have to walk to get his food. He was allowed to ride that donkey.
That's right. Yes.
There might have been some poor woman out there with sore feet who might have wanted to ride that donkey, even backwards.
That's right. Okay. Having the same opportunities as men. Well, did men have the same opportunities as women? Could they stay at home and raise the kids and ship the women off down to the bottom of the coal mines? I don't remember hearing that happening too often or at all in historical references. Did they have the same opportunity as women to just lay back and let some woman break her back trying to make enough money to buy a homestead for him? Was that one of the privileges that men had back in the day there, or was it kind of a little bit of oppression? Maybe Sophie might want to pay attention to history instead of being a vaginaut and doing herstory.
History is oppressive, Dan. It's a social construct of the patriarchy.
Well, maybe we should follow the Swedish model and call it zistery or something like that. Or I don't know. Jeez, they want to change. They want to drop the pronouns now. Jesus H Christ Almighty. What the hell's going on here? It's not like biologically speaking, 99% of us or somewhere around there fit into one or the other side of either standing to pee or squatting to pee. Now that's, again, for the most part, I'm speaking in general terms here. And it's not like we follow the rest of the, of Mother Nature's species out there where, there's a male and a female and they kind of coexist and complement each other. The FF can't have that happening here. Oh, no way in hell with that. No way is that acceptable. Now the last little part, and I think that that's been very detrimental to the human race as a whole. I don't know there, Sophie. There's about 7 billion of us on the planet here. That seems like pretty successful to me. Maybe that number's, maybe I'm using the wrong metric to gauge success. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a non-feminist. Okay, so let's move on here right quickly here because I've only got a half an hour and 2 more minutes here. It looks like. And JGL isn't the only high-profile gent who is smart enough to realize that equality for women is good news for everyone. Actually, equality for everyone is good news for everyone. Okay, so shut your bigoted mouth there, Sophie. You're nothing but a vaginaut. Only thinks with her bloody vagina. Ryan Gosling has made no secret that he's attracted to a project that features strong female characters, having been raised by a single mother. I'd like to point out a strong female character, Susan B. Anthony. What's her name? Florence Nightingale. Laura Secord. These were all strong female individuals, and yet I don't believe that they were feminists. Susan B. Anthony might have been, but I don't believe that they identified as feminists. Laura Secord and the other one I mentioned there. Living legend Sir Patrick Stewart. Oh dear God, the next generation captain. Oh, he made it so he started thinking with his vagina. I mean, he stopped thinking. is a powerful voice in the fight against domestic violence. Unfortunately, Captain, you're a bit of a bigot there. You're ignoring the other half of the domestically abused population. All right, time and time again, studies and studies and study upon study has shown that women are truly equal and do commit domestic violence at the same rates or more than men. Prince Harry has spoken out about the key role men should play in creating equality and respect for women around the world. This is not just about women. We men need to recognize the part we play too. Well, Prince Harry there, pay attention there, Sonny Jim. You might be the next heir to the throne or in line as an heir to the throne, but it's a complementary. We are a complementary species, and equality benefits us all. And it has nothing to do with feminism, which is all about entitlements and privileges. Real men treat women with dignity and give them the respect they deserve. And I'd like to tag on that real women treat men with dignity and give them the respect they deserve. See how feminism, just kind of only likes to show one side of the coin. She then goes on to put out a bit of Tupac Shakur's lyrics out there, and I don't see any reference that he is a feminist in there. But I could be wrong. I can't really ask Tupac. He was murdered. Men make up, the majority of the victims of violence. Well, guess what? Tupac was murdered. Unfortunately, feminism doesn't want to cover that angle either. They're fine with those bodies piling up in the graves there as long as they're male bodies. We can see that as, how they're taking care of the male suicide problem. Men making up about 76 to 80% of the suicide population. She ends with Yahoo senior editor and proud feminist Matt Thomas. Oh, Matt, my God, you are such a piss-poor example of a human being, but that's okay. We understand that you are kowtowing to the gynocracy. Male feminism isn't about muscling in and taking over the fight. It's about standing side by side with women and demanding change. Well, unfortunately there, Matt, what they're demanding is entitlements and privileges, and that's the change that they want. They want nothing to do with equal rights and responsibilities that men have and face. She ends it with, if the answer is no, and the thought of a world where men and women are equal fills you with dread, maybe stop and have a think about your life because you've gone wrong somewhere. No, I haven't gone. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I did go wrong. For 20 years, I bought into the feminist lie, and then it showed through example that it was a lie. That's where I went wrong, and that's where most feminists go wrong. They believe the feminist lie. Jack, your turn, brother.
All right. Yeah. Yes. I'll tell you what. Let's just roll on with it. We're 3 minutes past the 30-minute mark, so let's just go ahead. My article is in the New Statesman from an author, Laurie Penny, and let me drop the link in the chat room for everyone because I'm not going to read through the whole thing. She starts off with her article talking about how she's making fun of the whole thing. We say white knights are just doing what they do because they want to get laid. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But she makes fun of the whole thing, talking about how she's behind on sexually servicing all these white knights out there. But she goes on to say that male feminists are feminists because it's the right thing to do. Well, Laurie, I don't know if you've noticed, but the majority of society rejects the label of feminism. The majority believe in equality, but they reject feminism. And more, it seems like every day, an article is coming out in the mainstream media calling feminists out on their bullshit, calling feminism out on its bullshit. So you might want to get with the times there, Laurie. This is the good ship feminism is going down and going down fast. It's taking fire on both sides, on all sides. And you better be headed for a lifeboat or you're going down with it. And if you go down with it, I really don't give a damn. But anyway, male feminists are feminists because they seek women's approval. It may not be exactly for sexual favors, but they're seeking your approval. They want you to approve of them. They need it. They need female approval. Whereas myself, I don't really give a shit what any woman thinks. I'm an independent type person. I don't need your approval. And if the fact that you're a feminist, I really don't want your approval. If you approve of something that I do, I usually go back and check to make sure I didn't fuck up somewhere. But anyway, these male feminists, they have no self-confidence or self-worth. Okay, they just don't. They don't see any value in themselves, so they have to get approval from other people. They can't stand on their own 2 feet. They can't say, well, I've got this opinion, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to stand by it until someone changes my mind. They can't do that. They always have to look to everyone else. They're like a chameleon. They change, that changes colors, whatever surface it's sitting on. They change their opinion to match whatever group they're in because they want approval. And they specifically want female approval. So, these white knights and male feminists and Manginas, all 3 of these different male feminist groups want female approval. And by being feminist, that means they sacrifice their own rights. They support an ideology of hatred and violence. It's been proven, we can prove this, that is a hateful ideology and that it promotes violence. Okay. Now here's names. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Don't they remind you of dogs? Who's a good boy? Who wants a Femi Hero biscuit? Who's a good boy? Come on, sit, beg, heel, roll over, beg, 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 beg to be considered a human. Beg, come on, beg.
Exactly. That's exactly it, Danny. You hit the nail right on the head with that. They're like the little chihuahua that follows them around, and every time they take a step, the chihuahua's bumping them in the heels, because he's following so close, and he wants to sit in their lap and have them scratching behind his ear, and of course, the male feminist, he's hoping for at least a hand job, but if he don't, your dirty panties will work just fine for him. He doesn't care. Anyway, the names that she calls us men who decide to think for ourselves and really don't give a shit about a woman's opinion, she calls us paranoid chauvinists, less evolved, and self-satisfied sexists. Well, self-satisfied, yeah, I can pretty well identify with that. I don't care about women's approval as far as I don't need it, and their opinions. I really, I evaluate an opinion based on its own merit. The person who said it really doesn't matter to me. So if you're a feminist, you believe that your opinion should have value simply because you're a feminist, and if you're a feminist woman, you believe your opinion should have value simply because you have a vagina. Bullshit. Not with me. It doesn't. And
Wait a minute here. That statement, I find it to lack warmth and depth, like most feminist vaginas.
Wow. Is that how big Red's vagina is, Danny?
Hey, I wouldn't know. No.
That's not what I heard.
There might be an echo.
Yeah, buddy. Danny, be careful. If you get, if you can find your car keys, you can drive out. Anyway,
Jack,
moving on.
Where are you driving right about now? Does it lack warmth and depth?
It's foggy. But yeah, she goes on with her article. I'm gonna have to read this part because I couldn't. Yeah, you just got to hear this shit. One thing I've heard from women and men alike is that men fear speaking about. Is that men fear speaking about feminism and talking about gender, power, and class in case they somehow infringe on women's special territory. There are certainly times when that is true. Often the best thing you can do as an ally is to understand when it's your turn to shut up and let someone else speak, especially when you don't have direct experience of the subject being discussed. Okay, hold on just a second there, bitch. All right, wait a minute. Men are infringing on women's special territory when they talk about gender, power, and class, that this is sometimes the case, that men talking about these things are infringing on women's special territory. Let me tell you something, you fucking cunt. I'll talk about whatever I damn well please, and I don't give a damn if you like it or not. Gender, I have one of those. Okay? Power, I can talk about that, about how men don't have as much power in our legal system as women do, about how men don't have as much power in our government as women do. The evidence of this is all around us. All you got to do is open your eyes and pull off the blindfold of feminism and just take a look. Class, you're going to sit there and say that men can't talk about class in certain situations because it might infringe on women's territory? Bullshit, bitch. Anyway.
Well, hold on there, Jack. No, you know what? You know what they're upset about is because, I found that feminists have a lot of class. Too bad it's all third class. Men tend to have, ethics and morals and, tend to have a spine and stick up for what's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Well, these male feminists don't, but, that's another topic, I guess, about the fact that their spine was removed or they never had it to begin with. Anyway. Ally. Ally. See, that's the thing. Here in the men's human rights movement, we have MHRAs. Some of them are male, some of them are female, some are black, white, different colors, different religious beliefs or lack thereof, different political belief, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Feminism, if you're not a female, then you're a ally. You're an ally. You're not a feminist. You're a feminist ally. Get that, guys? You sit at the back of the bus. You eat out back of the restaurant. Okay?
A la feminist beginnings at Seneca Falls.
Exactly. They wouldn't let men in to begin with, and then they finally decided, well, okay, we'll let you in, but you got to sit in a corner and shut your fucking mouth. That's the beginning of feminism in the United States, and it's been that way ever since. Shut up and do what you're told. Okay. Especially when you don't have direct experience of the subject being discussed. See, she's hinting at rape there. They don't like it when men talk about rape. That's the feminist. That's the feminist special place. They own that. They own rape, right? They love it. It's their favorite thing in the whole world because it gets them a lot of money and a lot of power. Well, check this.
They love rape because it's a bunch of it.
Well, just think about this for a second, Danny. Okay, let's say that my house my house has never burned down. Okay, let's just say that is true, which is not. When I was a child, my house, my mom and dad's house where I was living it burned. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let's say that I had never experienced that before in my life. Okay, does that mean that I can't, as an adult, tell someone, hey, you might want to check your smoke detectors? That's about as much sense as this stupid bigot makes. Yeah, let me tell you something there, Lori. I can talk about whatever I damn well please, and I've got an opinion on a lot of things. Things sometimes that I haven't experienced myself. That doesn't make my opinion less valid, you stupid cunt.
Jack, I'd like to ask you something there. You said that your parents' house burned down at one point in time?
Yes.
Now who went around and woke up the kids and whatnot and made sure they got out?
Well, it was in the daytime and we weren't there, but anyway.
Well, I'd like to touch on. I was in a fire once myself. I sent my girlfriend out at the time. We were living together. I sent my girlfriend out, made sure she got out. Then I went back in. I burned my eyebrows getting my friends out, making sure that they got out.
Well, okay? There you go, Danny. Good for you.
They were guys. My buddy Tim and another guy, geez, I can't think of his name off the top, Tony T-Bay Dundas. I actually went down the stairs, and I was in such a panic that I didn't even check the door. I just pushed it open, whoosh, lost some eyebrows, some of my hair. I went back out and around. I wrapped my hand in a towel. I punched in his window to make sure him and a pooch that he had got out of that fire. And I ended up having to go to the hospital because I was making sure that my fellow man was safe. You just kind of touched something that one of my life experiences there.
Yep. My dad put our house out with a garden hose. We still do live out in the country. It was only a volunteer fire department. It was the middle of the day, and there wasn't anybody around to put the fire out, so he put it out with a garden hose. But anyway, let's see. Oh, yeah. Men can do this is still quoting from the article. Men can do a great deal of good in the feminist movement simply by listening and learning, which has the added bonus of being pretty easy. Once you have done the work of swallowing your pride, no, they want you to swallow the fact that, you swallow your humanity. You're not human, so shut up and listen to what your betters, women need from you to do, or need from you and need you to do. That's what they want. How many times have you ever heard of a feminist trying to help male rape victims? They don't. They try to hide the fact that they exist by labeling it as something other than rape, like Mary Koss. That's how they help men. It's by pretending that male rape victims don't exist, because if male rape victims did exist, then it would take away from the women's holy of holies that they've been able to claim, and that's rape. But anyway,
or they were asking for it. How you doing, Adele Mercier? I ain't forget about you, honey. Don't worry, we'll be back at Queen's University this year again. And I'm still curious about that Danielle Detremont situation. Geez, Prime Minister of Canada's son going to Queen's University. Doesn't the Kingston Police Force want to ensure that culprit, that allegedly violent individual, is caught? I'm kind of wondering. That's coming down the pipeline, folks.
Yeah, her saying that that these underage boys in youth detention facilities being raped by their female guards. Well, that's not rape. When an adult woman, let's say 27, 30, 35, whatever years old, has sex with an underage boy, she's the guard, he's the inmate. That's not rape. But you let a woman have a glass of wine, and then it's rape. Because she can't consent, because she's intoxicated. That's rape. These bigots make me so fucking sick.
Well, it's always grape, and it's always feminist wine. WHINE.
I needed a laugh. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate that. Let's see. But yeah, this whole deal of shut up and listen. Male feminist, I hope you're getting this. I hope you understand this. Your job is to shut up and listen and do what they tell you to do. Okay? They have the right to speak. You don't. She said it right there. About discussing subjects that you don't have an experience with. You're not allowed to do that. You're supposed to shut up and listen to them tell you what you're supposed to think. No, not me. Not this white boy. No, sir. Anyway. It's, continuing to quote from the article, it's not only listening, though. I would love to see even more men talking about gender. More men standing up for women. More men speaking out about their own experiences of living in a oh my God, she believes in patriarchy theory. Living in a patriarchal society that imposes damaging stereotypes on men and boys. Oh, dear God, she's so damn stupid she believes that patriarchy theory is actually a real thing. Okay, listen up, Lori. Patriarchy theory has been disproven many times over by science and history. Yeah, I know you know that, or I know you believe that those are two social constructs designed to oppress women by the patriarchy, but no, actually they're facts. It's true. The patriarchy, as feminists have defined it, never fucking existed. Okay, that it's like saying the world is flat. We know it isn't. We have proof. We know that patriarchy is bullshit. We have proof. Okay, but yeah. Anyway, I would love to see even more men talking about gender. Now, wait a minute. You just told us to shut up. You just told the male feminists to shut the fuck up. So now you want us to talk? Make up your damn mind. More men standing up for women. Why? Why should I? You're an adult. You're my equal, right? You want to be equal with men, right? Then take up for your own self. Women can do anything men can do and do it better and do it in heels. Women need men like fish need a bicycle. You fight your own battles. You don't need us. You can do it better, right? So fight your own damn battles. We're not going to do it for you anymore. You're our equals now. You gave up the privilege, or you should have, when you wanted equality. You gave up that privilege of being protected for when you are men protecting you when you wanted equality. Now you got to protect yourself. Anyway, this patriarchal society that imposes damaging stereotypes on men and boys. Well, that's true that there are some damaging stereotypes placed on men and boys. Like, let's say, for instance, how women really don't want to marry a man who wants to be a stay-at-home dad. There's a lot of women that won't marry, that they just won't marry a man like that. It doesn't make their a guy that's not successful and is the breadwinner. That doesn't make women's panties wet, so they won't marry. That doesn't turn them on. So there's those kind of things. Some other dangerous stereotypes. Well, the whole deal about men not crying. Well, first off, Lori, when we mourn or when we're sad, we express it a lot of times in different ways than women do. Men and women are different. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I know you're a feminist. That just blew your fucking mind that men and women are actually different. Well, we are. And we handle emotions in different ways. Neither one's right, neither one's wrong. It's just we're different. Okay? Got that? But anyway, this stereotype of for men to be tough, and we start teaching this to boys when they're young to be tough. The reason that we do that is because society needs warriors to defend women. That's right. Men go to war to defend you. And we need men who don't think about their own health and safety in order to have enough warriors to fight these battles. So, it's not the patriarchy. It's society as a whole. And you really ought to look in the fucking mirror and see what part you play in that. Because you play a big fucking part in it. And that's setting aside the fact that you're a bigoted feminist. That's just the fact that you're an adult human being in this society. You play a part in that in the socialization of men and boys. That this harmful socialization of men and boys. You play a big part in that. You really need to look at your part of that. Okay, the men who defend women are heroes. Now, in this section of the article, she shames men who don't stand up for women. And tells these men, she gives them a little pat on the head. You're a good boy for standing up for women. But like I said before, why should I? Why should any man stand up for a woman? Why? You can do it. You're an adult. Stand up for yourself. This whole idea of men as protector and provider is a big part of chivalry. And you talked about in your article about chivalry being just a way that men could treat women as human beings without thinking of them as human beings. No, Lori. No, we treated you as better than us. We went down with the ship. Okay? Men would take their coat off in cold weather and lay it over a mud puddle so women wouldn't have to walk in the mud with shoes on. That's chivalry. Okay, we treated you as better than us. And we've done that throughout history. We've protected you. We provided for you because it was really necessary for the survival of our species for a long period of time. Then it just became a custom that men sacrificed for women. That's that patriarchy you were talking about. Doesn't exist. This is what does. A gynocentric society that puts women ahead of men every fucking time. Now, you really, really need to get your head out of your ass. We are tired of putting up with this bullshit. We really don't give a damn anymore. Men have gotten to the point where they're going their own way. They're taking their ball and going home. Society, that needs their work and their labor to generate revenue and tax dollars and to provide for women and children, and needs their bodies to fight and die on the battlefield, needs their bodies to keep the electricity on, the water running, and the sewers operating properly. They're saying, fuck you, we're not doing it anymore. We're not going to be your work slave for women in society anymore. Why? Why should we? There's nothing in it for us anymore. Danny, we're coming up real close to the end of the show. You have anything else to add?
I'm going to urge everyone to spread Terrence Popp. Salute to Robin Williams. Make it viral there, folks. We lost ourselves an incredible talent there with Robin's passing. And again, he made up the he was a man who made up the majority of the suicide population. Take the red pill there, guys, and don't be a vaginot.
Dan and Jack hope you have enjoyed this episode of Blue Collar Red Pill. The song The Last Ones by the band Jazar is used under Creative Commons license and has been modified for this show. Please visit antimisandry.com and avoiceformen.com for more information on the men's human rights movement.